One of the new lines from WizKids is Adventure in a Box. These sets come with minis and scatter terrain and a map, though curiously not an actual adventure, which would have been kind of cool. Today we are looking at the Wererat Den, perfect for your urban campaigns, and quite a lot of published 5e adventures too. I will give you that full list later on. So let's see if this set gives us something special as we venture into the Wererat Den. Before we jump in, we are in the final days of the Dungeons & Lasers Deuslair Kickstarter campaign. If you haven't seen my full video on it, check it out there in the corner of your screen. This is your chance to get a ton of great unpainted minis without spending an arm and a leg. And this time they're also including a 5e bestiary with the new creatures matching their minis and an entire 5e campaign. A lot of the minis are basically warbands too. They come with enough pieces to build several unique minis of one type of creature, and you can mix and match the parts to make your warband unlike anyone else's. With Dungeons & Lasers Kickstarters, the stretch goals are where it's at. They've raised nearly $1 million as I'm filming this, and we've already unlocked all these stretch goals, which you can get for free with your pledge at certain tiers. Check out the Deuslair campaign at the link in the corner of your screen or in the doohickey down below, and watch my full video preview of the campaign as well to get the lowdown on everything you need to know. That's Deuslair on Kickstarter now. So let's start off with our 4 Wererat minis, all of which are indeed regular minis as opposed to acrylic 2D minis as in some sets, and all of which are unique, I believe. I don't recognize any of these sculpts from any other sets, including the unpainted Nolzur's line. Wererats drew the proverbial short straw in the lycanthropy game. They don't get to shape change into cool things like tigers and bears and wolves. No, they change into rats. If we're looking on the bright side, a rat form is pretty good for slipping in and out of places unnoticed, which is why many Wererat clans operate like thieves' guilds in larger cities. Here are our new Wererats next to some of our previous Wererats from the Icons of the Realms and Pathfinder Battles lines. The Pathfinder ones are a little bit more robust and rat-shaped, but I think you can easily use them all together. One thing to be aware of is that Wererats cannot transform into a regular old rat. They transform into this, a giant rat, which is closer in size to a large dog, so maybe they aren't all that inconspicuous. Giant rats have a separate CR 1/8 stat block in the basic rules, and there's also a diseased giant rat stat block that's the same other than possibly passing on an unnamed disease with a bite. A Wererat in giant rat form, or hybrid form, can also pass along Wererat lycanthropy with a bite. The last regular mini in the set is a swarm of rats, which isn't directly tied to a Wererat, but which would probably hang out near a Wererat colony. One thing that Pathfinder does with swarms is to make them vulnerable or weak to area of effect attacks, and that's something I might recommend bringing over to D&D as well. They're already resistant to regular physical damage, but it's a great time for a caster or an alchemist to really shine. Moving on to scatter terrain, you get one of everything I'm going to show you, starting with this particular junk pile, which includes a book and a scratched up shield, a sludge pile, which is that green thing there, a sad looking prisoner, a rat covered bone pile, and a so-called moldy cheese pile, which I initially thought was a stack of autumn leaves. This set is very pile heavy. There's some Wererat somewhere who likes to sweep things into piles. I do quite like that prisoner mini though for storytelling purposes. Next up is the rotten crate stack, a rat's nest, and a trash pile. The boxes and the trash pile can be used in almost any setting. Even the finest inn probably has a junk room somewhere, and honestly, I use minis of crates and barrels and junk piles all the time to add some life to my dungeons and castles and town settings. Next up is a rotten-looking picnic table, perfect for setting the mood in a creepy forest or a defunded public school. This is another one in the set that I think I'll get a lot of use out of. It's perfect for an old dungeon or a leaky castle or a set of ruins. Finally, we have a cage with a door that opens and closes. Here is the centerpiece of your storytelling potential with the Wererat Den. Who is being kept captive in the cage, and how are you going to rescue them? The cage is obviously the perfect size for our shackled up prisoner. Let's lock them up there good. But you can also put quite a few other small-sized creatures in there, like goblins, or gnomes, or even 2D snow goblins. The set also comes with 4 double-sided map tiles. Interestingly, these aren't really modular like you might expect. There are 2 distinct maps, including this one that focuses on the sewer itself, and this one on the other side of the tiles, which is a large room in a sewer. But the art of each tile is very specific, so you can't really mix and match them to get any other usable arrangements. This was the best I could do, and it pretty much just is the same as the other one with some mismatched shadows. Otherwise, if you try to match up the walls, you really just end up with things that look like this. So really the only benefit of these being tiles rather than like a paper map is that it'll be more durable and it'll be easier to store, which is fine. I prefer tiles like this to paper maps, and if they had tried to make it modular with only 4 tiles, it would have been very bland and generic. Here you can see all our Wererat minis and scatter terrain on both sides of the map. I like this set. It really has all you need to run a little Wererat side mission. It makes me want a little separate Wererat warband, though I imagine this is the closest we're ever gonna get to that. Plus, with sets like this, I like having a mix of very specific minis that can make a particular setting come to life, and some more generic ones that I can use in a lot of different circumstances. And in this case, they kind of combine those two. We're getting a bunch of trash in the best possible way. Versions of common objects like crates and tables and loot stacks that are old and rotting, so it's quite specific, but you could use these in a lot of places other than a Wererat den if you liked. Plus, I just particularly enjoy that hulked out Wererat. Wererat dens show up in more published adventures than you would expect. Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Dragons of Icespire Peak, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, Out of the Abyss, and Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which has the whole domain of Rishmelo, which is the domain of disease, isolation, and wererats. Now, I built something pretty special to show off this set, but before I show you, let me shout out our second sponsor for this video, Hit Point Press and their animated spell cards. I don't play D&D without these anymore. They're tarot-sized, waterproof, and they have 8 frames of lenticular animation on one side and all the spell details you need on the other. Nothing has delighted my players quite as much as having these cards to organize and play their spells. You really need to hold them in your hands to see how special they are. You can currently get bundles of 4 decks for $20 off. Check them out for yourself using our links below or check out animatedspells.com. So this set also gave me an excuse to bust out a Dwarven Forge set that I hadn't had a chance to use yet, the Burrows. A fun set for making a set of labyrinthine tunnels dug by Wererats or any sort of creepy crawlies. Maybe your Wererat den isn't in the sewers like your common adolescent turtle, but in a series of tunnels that they dug themselves behind the castle walls, where they could silently move in and out of polite society to pilfer whatever they need. The royal court has no idea where the missing belongings are vanishing off to, but luckily, an eager bunch of adventurers is looking for their first big mission. Time to start investigating, starting with those overly large rat droppings. An Adventure in a Box Wererat Den is available now in some locations for between $90 and $100, which seems a little high. It feels like $60 would have been a better price point for this one, but WizKids products often go on sale or show up cheaper on Amazon, so keep your eyes out for deals. This is the first Adventure in a Box set we've reviewed. There's a very cool Mind Flayer centered one coming out later this year that looks like this. There's also the Goblin Camp, which we'll have a review of here soon. There's also the Encounter in a Box line that is not D&D specific and comes with 2D minis, 3D scatter terrain, and some map tiles. That line is significantly cheaper at like $25 to $30 a pop. As soon as we get one, we will review it for you. So far, they've released the Prison Break and the Wagon Ambush sets. Those are in stock also at some locations if you want to check them out for yourself. And don't forget to check out the final days of the Dungeons & Lasers Deuslair campaign on Kickstarter. If you want a pile of great unpainted minis without spending a pile of money, this is your chance. Get in before the Kickstarter ends and get yourself some awesome animated spell cards at animatedspells.com. If you're looking for some cuddly kobolds, they're available now at koboldplush.com. I just ask that you don't stuff them into a cage. And you can follow us on social media at Trashface, SnapRat, Whiskerbook, and InstaCheese. For now, though, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.